More cash game study with us. What you got, Larry?
Okay, yeah, so we're gonna work in the trainer today. Um, we are going to play a little bit deeper in the hand. This is a single raise pot, button versus big blind. What has happened is that big blind checked the flop. We bet small. They call. We get a turn card. Big blind checked again. What do we do? Should we start off?
Yep, you're up first. You set it up. You get to play the first hand.
All right. So we turned equity here. Generally, the heuristic is that we continue to get to lie if we turn equity. Arguably, this card is good for big blind, but I'm going to YOLO this a little bit. I think this is probably going to be low frequency, though. Well, we do get to do this, but not too much. Okay, so we now filtered his range pretty significantly. We have a smidgen of showdown. Essentially give up an upright size good. Nice hand, sir. Okay, should I do a couple more? Pass it on?
Let's do one each and we'll score it. That's what
Okay,
I'll do.
so tell us
You
about how
got-
the scoring is going to work.
1 point for each. 1 point for each correct answer on the turn and on the river.
Okay,
Highest frequency correct or what?
For now we'll do the easy one as long as it's featured prominently. So if you choose a 5% thing, that's not a point. If you choose something that's featured prominently in the strategy, that's a point. We're going to go really, really easy here. So Larry's at 2, right?
yeah, two.
Got both right. All right, Larry 2.
All right, who's next?
In my order, it says Mike.
Okay. So we did check, or I mean, okay, just gonna make sure in my mind here. We bet the flop, they called, and now here we are.
Yeah.
This is a check for me. I'd imagine this is a pretty heavy check.
Yeah, I think it's a check.
And to
We,
answer
uh,
it on
margin.
prominent will be if one is like 75% and the other is 25%, probably not points. But if it's 25% across the board, then it is. So that's how we're going to do it, and we'll just evaluate it as we go. All right.
I like check or bet smallish.
Yeah. So this check is just fine, even though it's not.
Yeah, I'm surprised we bet on this card. Maybe it has to do with the paired nature of the
Yeah,
board.
some equity denial too, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's less likely big blind's gonna have the jack plays on the board, so maybe the 7 is good enough to bet.
Skate is kind of hard to hear, just so you know. There's a lot of background noise.
Yeah, make sure you're right up near your microphone, Skate.
And he throws the overbet at you.
Okay. This is interesting because we have a decent blocker. And it seems out of nowhere here. You know, in game, I would probably fold to population. Solver's gonna like have some weird stuff like this that I don't understand. So this might be a call. It's probably mix. In game, I'd fold. So let's just stick with what I do in game here and fold.
Call
Okay.
this to anybody who I thought who I'd seen anything from. But go on. But you got it. All right, take it. And this may
Yeah.
be calling too much.
Yeah, I think we call at some frequency. I think in Solverland, his sizing is going to match his value.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, his bluffs are going to match his value.
Yeah.
And so his bluffs will contain this sizing to match what he would bet if he had trips.
Yeah.
So, but we'll find out. And we want to call this because in solver land, his size is going to match his value, which is obviously not the way humans work, and not necessarily the way we should work. So, like, if you look at his, so let me see. So it's got shoves here, of course, but so his here. Just look what his bluff sizing is. So the 132 is not that prominent of sizing. He doesn't have any shoves. He but let's just look very quickly at breakdown. Yeah, so if you look at what his purple B12 is, it's right over here with mixed with his value. All his trips, but then also we're gonna see that sizing as a portion of his bluffs because he's the solver. I don't know if we need to do this against humans. I'll let you guys decide that, but I think this is the way that solver is constructing its strategy.
So here's why I called it against humans, and it could be totally wrong, is the bet doesn't make narrative sense. Now, I'm not saying nobody would ever do it, but the bet is really saying that because we get some check raises by jacks on the turn and on the flop. Especially on the turn from people who see a straight coming up a little bit, and then see the flush draw coming up a little bit. That's when they want to get their value, commonly. So it's as if saying that the 5 has now helped them, which is the straight came in, or the weird pocket 5s.
Yeah,
You know,
I can see that. Let's see in solver where our calling threshold is. It's pretty
Yeah.
mixed, actually. It's surprisingly mixed, but it's doing a lot of hero calling.
yeah. And Archer says he has some jack too. Yeah, absolutely he has jacks here. I just think the population plays their jacks commonly differently than this.
Yeah.
Check, give the guy some rope, give this guy some rope, and then the river comes and now jump out in front of it big.
Yeah,
And I could be completely wrong. The solver did it, but I don't know whether humans do. But that was my thought.
we're turning this into a bluff at a very high frequency. I don't know what that's about. But anyway,
Oh, I
Yeah,
didn't-
typically
that.
at my stakes that I play, an overbet on the river is pretty underbluffed. That's like just really just value. Like I said, versus a solver, I was pretty convinced that there's probably calling in here, which there obviously is. Versus population at 50 NL that I play at, I would hold this pretty easily and not be too worried about it. But yeah.
Yeah, and I don't see that. I don't see that jam out of anywhere. I didn't even get that. I just saw the call. I didn't even see that we jam it. Oh, geez. Okay, I
I
have
wonder if it's
nothing.
because we're blocking them,
I have nothing to say. Skates next.
plugging to 8-9. All right, skate, you're on, sir. Oh, what just
All right,
happened?
can you
Oh,
hear
this
me?
is the hand. Okay, he bluffed us. We won. Okay, you've got 2 pairs, sir. You got top 2. He called your B33 on flop.
All right, I'm gonna want to size up a little bit because of draws. So let's go 75%.
He really wants to. He wants to.
Oh,
He really wants to go after this. So we'll give you a B125.
okay.
So he just called a heavy filtering bet, right?
Oof.
And you got a kind of a shitty card. Strike that, a very shitty card.
Yeah, but he checked.
The almost hideous of cards.
Yeah, it's solver, so Yeah, I'm gonna check behind on a trade when I'm getting called by worse.
Well played, sir. Yeah, I think this is one of the two worst cards in the deck. I think the 6 of spades or the 7 of spades. You are calling this with some frequency. Let's see which ace kings we're calling. We must have to block this flush. Maybe we value bet if we block the flush.
I like those overbets on the flop.
Yeah, I don't find overbets enough. So if important thing is this blocker is really important here.
Yeah,
It really wants to bet with the blocker. Just out of
And what-
curiosity. Do this one instead. Let's just look at this hand class real quick. Nope, that's not what I want. I guess it's not two pair, it's top pair, because we have. Those are the only value bets we have here with ace X. Everything else checks on this horrible river. Still interesting.
and Arthur in the chat points out.
Oh, wait,
correct-
hold on. That's
Oh.
because this changed.
Arthur points out in the flop, in the chat correctly, that on this flop, we often will be betting large anyway to start with. But we definitely have some small bets, so we don't break the solver to get there.
Yeah, that's good.
Okay.
Okay. Who's next?
So I think what Arthur asks, what size is most there, most used there. I'm suspecting it's gonna be a 75. 50 and 75 are gonna be our most common sizes, but there'll be some 33 and very little checking.
There's some overbets on that flop.
Okay. Yep, makes sense. All right, who's up? Archer's up.
I get the hard one. So I think we overbet if we bet here, it's like overbet spot. My question is if we overbet this, and probably yes. The question is if it's 125 or 175. So I don't know if it's even overbet because like what jack ten he has.
Well, why overbet? What are you talking?
I mean because we're betting like king jack plus here, king nine plus. Maybe if 75 is fine. I go 125 and get -1.
You're in there. It likes to be 75 the best.
No, it's -1.
So it
Okay.
might be, so locked up equity, right? We talked about that. There's now straight on the board that might involve why we have less over bets.
And I think it's gonna make some two pair combos for villain.
That's a good point.
Oh, and then we got to the,
Yeah,
what
50
happened on the, what
something.
happened on the river? He folded out the eights.
Yeah.
The overbet, great. So that's gonna be, so point wise, it's -1, but,
Mhm.
you get a bonus star for the logic because you said 75 and 125. So the
But
reason. was-
also think about something here, like on this turn. Like when we bet with a really massive sizing, the hand that's gonna call us is gonna be much stronger. And so then when we get to river and we want to blast off, we're gonna be blasting off against a very strong range, which is gonna make it a much less profitable bluffing opportunity. I think is another thing to consider.
Yeah, that's true. So, this goes back to the hungry horse conversation of what are the best bluffs? A bluff where villain calls flop, calls turn, and folds river. And when you use this sizing, what you're doing is you are heavily filtering. I'm curious if on here, right? Our most prominent bet sizing. Just looking at the globals is B50 or B75. Because we locked up, there's straights available that got there. Excuse me. What if we make this? What do we take away one parameter here? This. So now we do get, that locked up equity is important.
Yeah.
So, and we could see that here, because all of a sudden, go away, please. Never mind. All of a sudden, yeah, these sizes are very prevalent.
Yeah.
So that locked up equity, that heuristic is definitely in play here. When locked up equity shows up on turn, we're gonna reduce our size.
And on that, if you had chosen on that board, we would give a point for the either of the big sizes, because while they're not over 25%, the big size, it adds up to about 30, and you have to choose one of them. So that would be a point in
Okay.
our completely arbitrary game where you win nothing. Right.
Who's next?
I'm up. I'm up next.
All right.
All right. Easy one. I'm going to check behind on the flush completer, even with my draw, because my queen is more important than my spade.
That's an interesting spot.
And I filtered him because I could have checked behind on the flop, but I didn't. But when I do, I check the turn.
Played, sir.
Happy with that. And the bet size when I bet was 50%. All right.
Just the nuts.
Let's just bet the nuts. We just want to, we're only getting called by a spade. We have the nut spade, so let's go at least. Wow, oh, the order's funny. Let's go at least 12. Are we gonna go more than 12?
I like 12.
I think we're gonna mix 12 and 20, 12 and 27, and I think 12 is gonna be more prominent. All right,
Maybe he's capped. For the
Yep.
reason that we don't
That's
get bigger
fine.
bets.
still counts as a point. That's prominent enough.
Oh, you get the call from. He's got a. What a hero.
Ah, hero called me. Yay.
Let's see what frequency he's calling that. Just am not convinced that's a high frequency call.
How
Where-
often go? I didn't see that. How often did we go bigger than 12, by the way?
We didn't. We went B60.
We did B60s and yeah, okay, but we did have. Okay,
We didn't have.
Yeah.
Yeah, we went not one bet size lower. We didn't go higher.
yeah, okay.
B12. So how often is he calling? Yeah, he's mixing it. He wants to. He's mixing. He's pure calling sometimes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
10 of spades.
King 10, do you have King 10 suited of diamonds?
Yep.
Mixing.
He didn't want to lose.
We all can relate to that.
Yep.
Who's next, sir?
Up next is Sutton. Sutton family.
All right,
Okay.
Sutton.
Um. We have the best queen X here. Makes it difficult for villain to put in raise here on us. I think we're gonna go. I don't think we want to go overbet here. I think we're gonna go B75. We have good draw. Lots of equity. We have nutted hands. B75.
WP, sir.
Nice.
Nice.
Also get
So-
some, I think for that size, you also get continues with it, with some 9x hands. Worse flush draws. Maybe even like a hand like 7s or 8s might consider, now that there's another queen, makes it less likely we have a queen. Whereas the bigger you go, you get rid of the 9x entirely, you get rid of any other pair that's below a 9.
And one thing for you guys to keep an eye on while you're watching is here, you can see what our global betting frequencies is, if you're curious.
across all hands.
Yeah, this is across the entire range.
Okay.
All right, cool.
And he, he dribbles it out.
Paired board makes it interesting.
Yeah, I don't know. I think this this river lead here is gonna be kind of polarized. I want to raise here, but I'm not really sure that it's gonna have to be a hand that I think I'm capable of bet folding here.
Yeah.
And I don't know what the sizing it should be at all.
Yeah, we don't see this play in the wild.
I think I'm gonna choose B54.
That's what I would do in game. I have no idea what in solver. I would do B54 in game.
I think that, yeah, it's hard to know what to do here because, well, number one, we never see this. And number two, it's a paired board, so we don't have the nuts. And the question then becomes, okay, well, we're close to the top of our range, but what calls us? And I think that you guys, yeah. But does he use this sizing with flushes?
It's just a weird, yeah.
Yeah, we just want to slam it. But we're still in.
And he had,
Queen X.
Trips.
and he folded.
Let's see how often he uses this sizing in this. I mean, we don't have river reports, but how often does he use this sizing in this particular combo in this game? Well, globally. So here. He does have it. He wants to use this with his trips. Are any of you guys using this at all?
No.
Yeah, this is a very interesting play. Maybe this can spur little bit of a discussion.
Yeah,
Does this play make sense? Like, does this make sense to implement this against humans?
I mean, when you think about it, yeah, because sometimes you'll get called by worse.
Yeah, so that really what it comes down to is that, like, I don't think in Solverland this is like, well, this is partly a BSTI, right? Because we can see that if we look at this sizing and then we look at filters,
But
he does have this with his flushes sometimes, right? So he's always balanced, he's solver. So he does his flushes and his boats does mix this size at a very low frequency.
okay, so the bet is a BSTI, but this hand was a BSTF. Got it.
It is well, it's solver, right? So it's gonna mix.
Right. Okay.
It's gonna mix all of its hand classes into all different betting sizes at some frequency. But the great majority of what this is are trips. Great majority of the time he's using this as trips. But he's mixing in full houses, flushes, and he's even mixing in BSTI or tiny bet bluffs. But Yeah, again, I wonder if this is a way to use against humans. Right? I mean, so we're looking at this trying to learn a little bit. I wonder if this is a learning moment.
So then, like, why do we bet so big? Like, I mean, if you can, you could fold to your
Well,
small
I'm
bets.
talking more about what the big blinds play, right? Uh, and yeah, I don't know if this works against humans. It's an interesting play though.
All right. So Larry, it's Larry's up.
All right, we've got a marginal ace high hand, called our small bet. Um, been turning additional equity. This hand is, I think, pretty much blank. We could do either here. I think we can. We're gonna have checks here, but I think we're also gonna have B75s, B125s. I don't usually make this play, so I'm gonna make it in when I'm studying here, because I do think we sometimes maybe get over bets here. Nope, we just check back, we log our equity. Fail. 0. Let's see here.
I wonder,
We do get over bets, but not with this hand.
I wonder if
Yeah.
the jack is kind of bad here. If you're trying to get like, I don't know. I wonder if the jack is not good.
Yeah, I think you need an over to get in here.
Oh, well,
I
maybe is it good? Maybe it's good blocking his 10 jack.
I think if we had king jack here, king jack of spades, I think we would bet it. I think it's the ace that's causing us to check, which is weak.
Yeah, because that's marginal showdown.
Yeah,
Right?
Yeah, I think you're right. We'll look at it.
yes, yeah.
We're not gonna turn that ace side to a bluff. Solve it later.
And marginal showdown. Yep. Okay.
Let's look at, we do get over bets here. So, on not with this combo. On turn. Turn, check here. So we are overbetting with a large portion of our range, where we
Yeah.
don't, there's no locked up premium hand here.
Yeah, look at the
I'm
king
curious-
jack suited and the king 10 suited. Although
but
they,
those
picked-
are overbets?
yeah, but they picked up equity. They also picked up a straight draw now.
Yeah, that's a good point.
But it's 8, 9, but the king 8 didn't. Go roll over your king 8 suited. Yeah, you didn't pick up any extra equity. Your flush draw was enough to bet and you don't have showdown.
Well, look, our ace two is checking too.
So this, the one
does-
call, yeah, the king 8 is a good example against the ace jack. So the king 8 of spades here does have overbets, but the ace jack, I think, is just, the ace high is enough that we want to check back and realize equity.
Right. Because the ace 8 is not enough.
Yeah, the ace, that's a good point. Ace 8 is not enough, but we're,
Yeah.
so another analogy here would be the ace king, right?
Yeah.
So let's just look at filter for flush draw. Flush draw nuts, flush draw. So this region here,
These are all spades, right?
yeah, this is just our flush draw.
Okay.
So this region here is the ace high and kicker is good enough. We just don't want to bluff. There's other
Right.
parts in here, but let's just focus on this.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm taking away. Does that sound right to you guys?
Yeah. Yeah, your top aces don't do it. Your pairs don't do it. And all
Let's-
the other do it prominently.
Yeah,
And-
there's pairs in here too, obviously.
And the fact that
Flush
the
draws.
king deuce and the jack 4 mix the way they do, I don't think is important yet.
Let's look maybe at breakdown. These are gonna be, this is pairs. So pair plus draw is like nines. That's unfair, but whatever. Okay, yeah, so it goes like, there's a pair, 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 pair. It's not changing, never mind, pair. Okay, anyway.
Yep.
All right, who's next?
That was Mike.
Okay. I like a check here.
Now you got an interesting hand.
Oh,
Yeah, I'm tempted to raise, but let's see the 7. You know, so I mean, solver is gonna just jam this, like some frequency.
Yeah, I agree.
I just don't know if he wants to go full all in or like, yeah, versus a B80. I think it's all in. I think it's all in, or yeah, it's all in.
Yeah, I think you're right. The only question I have is the paired nature of the board.
Mhm.
Has everything, although it's hard for him to have. I mean, he's claiming a flush, right? But we're blocking the nut flush. He doesn't have that.
Yeah, he's claiming flush or about.
But yeah,
in game, I'm folding 100% of the time.
so we get hero calls, we get everything here. And it just, if it does bluff, it doesn't want it. I would think, solver would use this size.
I guess his bluffs are, I guess you got a 7 to fold. All right.
Yeah.
You have 0 points, but it is a moral victory.
Yeah.
I wonder.
Does he fold it? As long as we're looking it up, I want to see if he folds the 7 for the suggested size bet, which was what, B60, B80?
Let's look at that.
Yeah.
So the bluff size was B80.
Right.
The question is, does he fold trips? He's indifferent AF.
Yeah.
So this is kind of a lesson in Solverland, right? So in Solverland, he's gonna find a combo that makes villain indifferent. And this is our definition of indifference. Where villain now is folding mostly and calling 40% of the time. So this is where solver found its equilibrium.
Right.
So it didn't need to use the shove to get the targeted hand to fold at some indifference, at some frequency. Okay. Next hand?
Yeah.
Who's
So
next?
one thing on Arthur's question about in cash, raising the trips. I don't know what the solver does, but like what Sutton said here in the chat, our population does a lot of not raising the 7 on the flop. They do some, but by the turn they do. They don't want the river to check behind. And when the turn brings in the flush draw, I think they do it even more to not see the flush card on the river. I think that is common play by our opponents. I do not have mass data to support this.
So here on the turn, are we checking our ace-x draw and betting some of the worst ones on a peg board?
So,
We're betting, some of our bets had backdoor diamonds. When the diamond comes in, we bet them. The ace-8 is just, seems like it was just a one and done. When
Yeah. I'm just saying you check the here.
could you show big blind strategy on the flop versus small bet?
All right, so Skate, it's still hard to hear you, by the way. There's just a little bit of background noise there, man. Okay, so what is the question?
What's
Can
the,
you show big blind on the flop versus a bet
Okay, can we show big blind?
on the flop?
Is this after big blind bets?
On the flop, so
yeah,
On the
what does he
flop.
do? Right, does he check, what does he check raise? What does he do with his sevens there?
Alright. I see. Big blind check, we bet. How often does he check raise his trips, right? How often does he trap?
A lot.
So let's look at trips.
yeah,
He's-
so sim.
He's a balanced guy, right?
But
He rolled his RNG and rolled below a 40. Does that answer your question?
yeah,
Yeah, I mean, he's just balanced. The question, I think what humans are gonna do a lot, I think maybe someone already mentioned this, is where are we? He calls, we turn, he check. So let's see if we like, what's our most common size here? And I'm just focusing on big blinds action, so I'm gonna leave the filter up. Okay, okay, so what's our most common size across? Most common size is like a B50, so if we B50. Question I asked, how often does he check raise here with his trips?
This is on the turn, right?
This
Oh,
is
no,
on the turn.
on the turn, yeah.
So again, he is mixed. He's raising half the time and calling half the time. Out of curiosity, that was a B33 actually. B50. He is calling less and check raising more. Button used to be 75. He's 50-50. And he's 50-50 against, he's always balanced. He is the solver.
And then Arthur asked if, big blind defending against button doesn't have much offsuit stuff. No, we have a lot of offsuit stuff. All of the offsuit Broadways are in there, down to, down to offsuit.
Are we talking about like pre-flop?
Yeah, just pre-flop, yeah, just what do we get? What do we get to the flop with? We have a lot of offsuit stuff. We don't have offsuit nonsense, but we've got
Yeah, I think we defend
every
like,
big card that can make us straight.
it's like, we're defending 40% of our range.
Yeah.
Which is a lot less than MTTs, but we defend a lot.
Yeah.
Well, a lot in cash world. All right, who's next, sir?
That was, that was Mike, so it's skate. That was, right.
Well, I mean, the light, so hopefully we can do better.
Skate, you gotta say it again, sir.
Can you hear me now?
A little bit better.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on here.
Do you have like a gain? Do you have like a gain dial on your mic? I want to turn down the gain.
Yeah, if there's a knob on your computer that says shitty sound, turn that down.
Okay, there.
Just type it in if you can. What's your size?
Give me a second.
So you typing it in?
Yeah, 50.
50. Okay.
B50, I'm check. Yes.
You're not breaking a solver though.
Yeah.
All right, he called.
Oh, so it's not good enough to bet, huh? That is me. I guess we check it in.
You want to check?
Yeah, sure.
Yep, so one correct, one off, 0 points. Congratulations.
Alright, who's next?
After skate, it goes to Artur.
Our
Yeah.
turn next hand.
Let's go.
Turn to equity.
I just overbet, bro. I go 125.
Okay, I don't know if solver is gonna have it. It might have it. Let's see.
No, it's 125 or 175.
We were
Yeah,
on the right
that's-
track, right?
Yeah,
I didn't know this would be an overbet. I don't really,
You are not betting queens, and you are not betting a king.
yeah.
yeah, I don't know. I don't
If
really,
you rep an ace or better, you just bomb huge.
okay,
Because like, he doesn't have better than ace jack or something.
Think
let's give
about
me the B
his,
175 just because I don't ever take that line. There we
but
go.
think about his calling range with his best ace, right? What's his best ace gonna be like on the ace, jack, ace 10 side? And we block those best aces, I think, is one of the considerations.
Ah, that's a very good point. So
No,
we're
no,
blocking.
no, it's about
best
gut
checkers.
shot. We blast because we have gut shot. If we didn't have it, we wouldn't blast it. I know
I
from
would
most-
imagine it's a little bit of both, frankly. So,
Like 10-9 doesn't blast like this, I think. Without gut shot, and same like
we have
property.
two good things, right? We have block, well, let's, we could look at our blocker properties, but, so check. So turn, right? So here. Okay, no, sorry, right here. So this is a polarizing turn. We're just really polarized. We're either betting massive or we're checking. I'm not totally clear why. This is, I mean, the only answer I have is that even, so what we should see here, I think. Here he calls, right?
Mm-hmm.
This hand, the only conclusion I could do is this card's really good for us. We've got a range advantage here, right? Even after he calls. And this card does increase our range advantage. No, it still flips to big blind. So I don't know. I don't know why this. If anybody has any idea why this is such a good card for us,
Can we
which
look
allows
at the
us to
equity buckets,
have
Larry?
overbets.
Look at our
Look-
nut advantage.
Look at the equity buckets for us,
Sure.
please.
Equity buckets.
Yeah, go advance for us, yep.
We crush on the top end. It's the nut advantage.
Yeah, okay, makes sense.
But it's not just, it's, well, look at how our range shakes out here, right? So we are betting either, look at, our range is either really good or air. And so, and if you look at what's gonna make his range, big blind's range, be put into difficulty, he has like a lot of the second tier hands. And so we can force his range into a lot of tough situations with the big bet here.
Yeah,
Is
Yeah, I mean, that is nicely demonstrated in the linear equity graph.
Hmm.
Because when we get to like, not even, it's like probably like 80 above or something.
Yeah.
You really begin to dominate. You're right.
Let's look at our global frequency for this turn,
Okay.
which we were on just a second ago.
Yeah,
Okay.
I mean, this is why this is interesting to me, is
Yeah,
that we
it's a
do
lot.
get this highly polarized strategy here. Which isn't always the case, right? And I don't use overbets enough, so that makes me curious as to why we're doing this.
Yeah.
And I think that Sutton's right, looking at the range versus range, is that we kind of have a tricky, like, it's not obvious that we have a tricky a nut advantage here.
Yeah.
But when you look deeper at the very top of range, which is right here, and you look at the linear equity graph, it is demonstrated that we do
Yeah.
have a nut advantage, which is driving this. And we have a combo that turn additional equity as well.
But
Yeah.
again, just look at his best ace X in the big blind range. It's ace jack, ace 10. And with our jack 10 combo, we block that a lot.
Yeah. So when he has an ace, it's a bad ace. that might fold by the river.
Yeah, yeah. So he has kicker issues.
Although that may not be a great in real life strategy to ask players to fold ace
An
X.
Yep.
So,
All right, we still have a river to play
um,
because we didn't break the solve, right? Yeah, he had a 1.7%. It would 2.3%. We're great. 2.8%. That was the bet. So
I don't know how far we should go into the whole of blockers, but I'm just gonna say right here, with this combo,
mhm.
what was our exact combo?
It was offsuit.
We've got this very high trash removal number, right? Which means we aren't removing trash. So not removing trash is really good for our bluffs.
Yeah.
So that is driving this bluff. I'm always wary going into the blocker talk because some people think at the stakes we play, it's not that important. But definitely support playing a trainer.
I don't think blockers don't make sense. They may not do the same laydowns, but when you want to bluff, you don't want to be bluffing into the nuts. And if you can cut the nuts in half by a blocker in your hand, that makes I mean, it doesn't matter what stakes you're at. I don't agree that blockers don't count at our stakes.
Yeah, I mean, there's an argument for both. I mean,
I would agree that
we should have the conversation at a time, but
yeah, I would agree that at our stakes, there are easier ways to win money than to think about blockers.
yeah.
We're making
I-
bigger mistakes than that, but they have to matter.
I think the argument is that player dependent and pooled adjustments are trump blockers in
I-
our
yeah.
order of decision making.
I would agree with that.
However,
knew it.
blockers, I mean, and there's certain cases like when we looked at the hand where we had the ace of diamonds on a flush board blocking the nut flush. I mean, that clearly is a blocker situation where we're going to play the value of our blocker. I
Right.
mean, I'm going to play that every time, not every time, but often I will play that as a bluff because we're blocking the nuts.
But we're not going to get that fold from the 7.
No, we're not.
All right.
No,
here-
that is very true.
All right. You still have a river.
But
Good
yeah,
luck.
go ahead.
Oh, he took the bet. He did he bet the 41. We continue.
Correct.
Here we go.
So we overbet, he calls. All right. So this is a total. Yeah, this is a total brick. But we used a super filtering range on turn, and I guess it's on you, Skate.
No, it's on Arthur.
Oh, I'm sorry. It's on you, Arthur.
I check probably.
Yeah, I think this is a give up. I mean, I don't think we ever get to continue the ruse after he calls that. I mean, we've heavily filtered his range. He doesn't get to call gut shots with that,
Yeah.
and there's no flushes available. Yeah, I think this is a give up. Does anybody think we get to shove? I mean, that would be the only size we'd use here.
I think that there is going to be some small percentage of shoves because of the Jack 10 argument that when he has an ace, it's an ace that a solver might fold. But I think check is in game is the right thing. We're not getting any more folds.
Excuse me, guys.
Check
I
us.
can't. Okay, there's
Um,
the mute button.
All right.
Yeah. No, all good.
Yep. Okay, good. There we go.
All right, sorry, guys. Back. So, all right. WP, who's next?
I'm up.
Carding
I-
hand you have here, sir.
Oh my. I would like to continue to bet even upon this completed equity in 2 ways. I would like to bet 75. No,
It really doesn't like this
much
ace.
smaller. Yeah, okay.
I
Alright,
think, but also, I don't think I think you have a shit ton of equity here.
yeah,
And I'm gonna
Okay.
bet I'm gonna bet if you look at the equity buckets here, he has a very weak range, would be my guess. And so your bet here is to target that weaker range and to
Yeah.
make it play worse. And it will play worse to a small bet than a big bet here. The big bet will make his weak range play very well. He will just fold.
Right.
We had a similar the reason I say this is because as soon as I saw this board, it reminded me of a situation that I saw in the study earlier today. It was a situation where the board was like 6-6-3. And when the third 6 hit the turn, it was like, I'm sorry, a 2 hit the turn. The range that we were against was very weak. And yes, we had a lot of nutted combos to like get after it with in the parameters that we had. But the range of our opponent was so weak that by betting big, we just
Yeah.
eviscerated that range.
We let him play perfectly. We made
Right,
it easy.
exactly.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, well put. Yeah,
Yeah.
and we could see that here, right? Globally, we just don't have big bets on this texture.
Yeah.
So the question, so here. So this is deceptive when you look at range versus range because we've got trash still here. And he has got a filtered range. So when
But
we look
he
at range versus range, it's not necessarily true that we're gonna have a range advantage. Because what's going on here is that we bet he's filtered now, right? He folded his trash, but we still got a shit ton of trash still.
Yeah.
But,
But I would have thought he would check raise some flushes, especially weaker ones.
that's a good question. So here,
But not all of them.
filter. I mean, so we should also take consideration that we, monotone boards are there, I've heard much better poker players than me talk about how monotone boards in solver are like their own separate animal. Like a lot of the heuristics that we're used to just go out the door.
Okay.
It's just a weird, it's a unique strategy. And we see that here, right? So your beast 75 does not break solver. Let's continue.
Yeah. It's bad, but I can at least continue my mistake.
No, I don't think you can say that it's bad. It's
Right.
not. It's just low, very, very low frequency.
It's bad for points and not great for logic. And boy, what a terrible bet. So there's a 4 straight out there. I'm a pure bluff catcher now.
You are pure bluff guy.
I am a pure bluff catcher. And at 13, I'm going to catch this bluff in solver. And in game, I'm going to cry.
The question, does you ever use this donk with 2 pair would be my first question.
I don't
And
think
I don't know if solver does.
people do.
Cause you bet.
Does he turn the ace of spades into a bluff?
Yeah. That's
There.
just,
No, he doesn't. And so this is terrible. I'm still calling. I hate this.
you
Yeah.
are entirely indifferent, sir.
Yeah, I'm happy to hate this. Okay,
Bluff.
that was fun.
So
Could
that's an
you
unusual
show-
play, I think, for solver. See how often he uses this here. I wonder if he's using this play because you now have straights that came in where you can't fold.
Yeah.
Does that make sense to people? Because I mean, it's not often that solver is going to use a healthy sized donk on river,
Mm-hmm.
here. And he's not doing it often, but he's definitely doing it. I mean, this
Yeah.
is, and what portion of this range is he doing this with?
But he's not doing it with kings. This is him, right?
This is, yeah, this is big blind.
Yeah, he doesn't bet it. He doesn't do it with a king.
He's not doing that. He's only doing this with the flush and
Flush
his
and
trash. So he's got, mostly doing it as flush, and then he's balanced. Let's. So this river queen brought in the 4 to a straight, right?
Yeah,
And he's doing that with his flush. What about if this river was 5 hearts? Does he have any donks now? Yeah, these donks go away. I think these donks are because, like I said, your 4 to the straights can't fold. Now, if he does this, you got a lot of shoving first thing, right? What do your straights do? Your straights are mostly calling. So I think this is what's driving this spade. Which we
and
don't see very often.
right, and the ace king over there offsuit, I'm gonna guess that it has an ace of spades in it.
Yeah. We're
Yeah.
turning our.
Yeah.
We're turning our straight into a bluff. Block with nuts.
Mm-hmm.
Stick that in your solver and smoke it. All right. Okay, who's next?
It is Sutton.
Could you show?
What's your
Oh,
first name? I keep calling you Sutton. I know you.
My first name is Adam.
That's right. Hi, Adam. Okay. It's Adam.
You have turned a flush, which is what? Third nuts.
They're nuts. We just saw that solver on these monotone boards does not check raise flushes. They're still gonna have plenty of queen X flush, jack X flush. I'm going to check this back.
I would have bet this. That's good. Well played, sir. I would have never checked it. This is an interesting spot.
I just call. I don't see anything else that we can do. Oh, I definitely I didn't see.
So the question becomes, there's a threshold here, right? So it's telling us the third nuts is a value raise to what is this? Blocker size A. And it just must be what is composed. This is a factor of what's composed in this blocker sizing. This is blocker sizing is obviously going to be balanced, but filters. He is using blocker sizing with better flushes. He's mixing it with, well, it's 9 flush. There we go.
I don't understand. So what's look at that range like that? I don't really understand what the purpose of raising that range is with our 9. Like what calls us that's worse?
Yeah, that's the answer. Let's see what it is.
Yeah.
He wants us to raise to
What did trainer want to use?
Common
It primarily used the click,
8.5.
crazy click. That's just kind of a nutty play, isn't it?
We want to reopen the action so that he can bet his bigger stuff bigger and we can fold and feel, look at how good a player I am as I fold.
Well, the first thing is that 17% of the time he shoves it in my face
Right.
or reclicks. The question is, what does he call with? So let's look at, I think the easiest way to do this is breakdown. So he's calling us with like straights, calling us with a 5, some frequency. These are like some bizarre hero calls. No one's going to find.
Well, the 3s were a set, but
Oh yeah, 3s were a set.
3s were a set, but the deuces.
And the 5, 7. So he mixes hero calls enough, I guess, with his flushes that it's of value.
They were all spades. All those pairs were spades.
Yeah, I was saying heroes call because
right,
it's like a 4 high flush is what you're.
Yeah, exactly.
So, yeah, I guess in Solverland he hero calls this size enough that it becomes profitable.
Yeah.
the question I have is here. On button. What is our raising threshold? So these are just our flushes, right?
Mhm.
8, we had 9 high, didn't we?
We had
Yeah.
9.
So the 9 is mixing. The 9 is kind of our, it seems like the 9's our threshold in which we begin to value raise our flushes. Does that seem what you guys, is that what you guys are seeing?
Yeah.
And then once we get to like jack high, which is what the second nut flush, we're pure raising.
I mean, I can understand with the jack because then it's really, you have those queen high flushes, but there's a lot of other flushes beneath you. I feel like
Yeah.
I feel like with the 9 and the 10 out there, there's a lot of jack and queen combinations that are ahead, and not as many.
It does feel thin. It does feel very thin.
By the way, this just barely breaks the Matt Affleck rule in terms of its size.
Ah, yeah, I see your point. I see your point. We are reopening the action for not that much,
For
that many, much more.
43% pot, but you know, I said just barely.
All right, so.
All right, so
Who's next?
that was Adam, and Adam got one right, one wrong. So Adam is at a solid 0.
Um,
After Adam is Larry. You're at 2 points, Larry.
not for long.
You're yep.
Oh, by the way, oh. And okay. So. We've got. A gutter, and we turned a good card for our range, I think, although I think that's deceptive. To say that. Do we get to continue the line on this card? So I think human heuristics is yes. We do. I sometimes don't understand if this is a good card for us or not. I'm beginning to doubt that heuristic. But we have the better aces, right? We definitely have the better aces, so I guess from that perspective, it is a better card for us because he does not have. And kicker plays here. So. Let's do this. No. I was in the right space, but just we go nuts on this card.
Yeah. We like the ace.
So let's look at our global.
While you're changing that, I have a question.
Yeah.
Did I got my first one wrong. Did I get the second part of mine right or wrong? Anybody remember on my little score thing?
What was your
Um,
hand?
I don't remember.
Well, it's your Zoom call, so if you weren't here, we wouldn't have these, so you definitely got it right.
Nice kiss up.
Thank you. Got me far in the
Yeah.
industrial world.
Yeah.
So we are using we're using these overbets a lot. I would assume we're using this overbet because we've got the gutter to the nuts. Not breaking it. All right, I got a fold from a hand that could sustain that size. I got a 0.
Well done. You got
Who's
a
next?
you got a -1 for your fold.
Yeah, I'm just surprised. I mean, so I'm gonna look at this because I don't have overbets enough. I doubt a lot of us do have overbets enough, frankly. Let's try to understand, and maybe some of you guys can help me. I don't quite understand. This ace, the only conclusion I can come to is we get overbets. Such a polar, we do. It's not all of our range, but it's a lot of our range. Like all these gutters here. Let's just look at our hand class to make it easier. Let's look at, yeah, so a lot of these get these overbets. And the only thing I think that drives that is that this ace is really good. Well, that the ace is really good in that we have a semi bluff to the nuts. So Is this ace really good for us is the first question. And I guess one way to look at it is here. Which is top pair.
I think the ace is good for us because he's folded out a lot of his aces.
Yeah, well,
When?
not necessarily.
Alright,
Aces are still a larger, so top pair now is a larger part of his range. But we've just got we've got him dominated on the kicker side, right?
mhm.
And we can see that even if we look at what we would actually do with our top pair is like this portion is betting this big overbet size.
Yeah.
Because of our kicker advantage. And so because I guess we have the kicker advantage. Now, the portion of our range that's a semi bluff really gets to go after it. Does that make sense to you guys?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Who's next?
Mike is next.
Right. Well,
Walk through the nuts.
bet small call, check, king. This is kind of like that situation that we were talking about earlier where their range, I guess their range could still be pretty strong here with like two pairs and top pair. But I think it's not strong enough to go really big. So I'm going to go with the B75. It's probably got some overbets, but yeah, let's go B75.
Well played, sir.
Yep.
Point to Mike.
Point to Mike.
Ooh.
That does bring in some boats.
So I don't think it does. Right.
Although they would probably check raise their queen nine, ace nine.
Yeah, that's the only
Maybe-
boat. Yeah, I mean, I
maybe
guess
not,
there are
though.
boats. I'm talking out of my ass. They do have boats.
I think we go B85, is it 84, B84 here. I think our value is good enough for B84, but not big, not good enough for an overbet.
I'm on B150, but 84.
Nailed it.
Is this, I think the other day, you guys were talking a little bit about Hungry Horse. Is this a Hungry Horse spot to just go massive with this particular hand? Because that hand right there is not gonna fold.
That hand, it can fold. He's not two pair anymore.
The
He got
king,
counterfeited.
the king, queen is
King,
still-
queen lose to every ace now.
Well,
because
okay, all right. But so that actually, it doesn't really matter that hand.
Yeah.
If the other side of this is on the bluff side, is
Hmm.
say you get here with a bluff, do you go small? Because, if the guy has just a couple of spades, like you don't have to bet big. You just breathe on it, he's gonna fold. If
Yeah.
he's got, I don't know, a queen with a gutter or something that he's gotten here with, you could breathe on it and potentially get a fold.
So you got a good point. So essentially the Hungry Horse bluff heuristic bluff strat here is small bit here. Now this is where let's see what the globals are first here. So we're on our turn. So the Hungry Horse sizing is going to be down here, right? With his bluffs.
Well, on flop and turn, you treat the same, of course, that you're gonna play the same according to Hungry Horse.
So you're going to bet small again. So you're going to like do a B50 or B33 here. Right.
Hungry Horse isn't, Hungry Horse, as I understood, it wasn't that you bet the same on the flop and the turn. His standard bet on the flop is half pot.
Yep.
And then on the turn, you ask the question, once the turn comes in, is my opponent capped?
Yep.
And when the king comes in, your opponent is not capped because he has jack because he has Jack 10. He calls his Jack 10 on this board. He doesn't have to raise it.
Which keeps you to a smaller sizing.
Yeah, so you have to bet, you bet small because of that. And then on the river, you ask what would the opposite, if I have a bluff, does my value do? And if you have a value, you say, what would my bluff do?
Yeah, he inverts it.
Yeah,
I have to go back and watch it.
yeah. So on the river here, when we're bluffing, we say, how big would we go with our value that we're afraid he's, to keep him from folding out lesser? We go bigger than that because we want him to fold out lesser.
And with the value, he goes
We're not
small
running
because he
down.
wants to get called by a larger part of the range, right?
Wait. Here we have value.
Right.
We ask ourselves, what do we
Hungry
want?
Hungry Horse is not balanced on the river. He's the
No,
op-
no, yes, no, he's not trying to be. And so
Yeah.
that's what I'm asking here. Is this a like a big bet value spot in the Hungry Horse model, which is not emulating solver,
Right,
but to
right.
exploit population. And so is this a spot now where we can go small with a bluff and get it through because the board is quite scary, or for like the draw is bricked. So if you have a draw, he's just gonna fold.
Okay.
You don't have to make that. You don't have to work hard to make a draw fold here.
Right. So here's my thought out loud about that. Let's put ourselves in the bluff situation. When we're looking at this, I'm sorry, in the value situation, because that's what we should think of when we're bluffing. We go, what would a value do? And value wants to get called by an ace. Doesn't want an ace to fold. So how much is an ace going to call here? An ace is going to call, what's ace 10 going to call? Ace 10 chops with ace queen. No, it loses to ace queen. Ace 10 chops with ace jack.
Yeah.
And all lower aces. So he's going to call up to about a pot and a quarter. He's not folding an ace for a pot and a quarter bet. Therefore, when you bluff, you need to go bigger than a pot and a quarter, I think is the Hungry Horse model.
No, you do that. You're doing the opposite. So if you're betting over pot, then that's big sizing. So,
Okay.
and that's what
Just
you're
that.
doing value.
Okay.
And so then the opposite with the bluffing size would be smaller.
Okay. And I thought the opposite of large was huge, but okay.
I don't.
Not sure. I'm not sure.
I mean, I'm not 100% like.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. I haven't taken the whole Hungry Horse course, but
Yeah, his YouTube videos definitely, especially those first couple, definitely went against, or a better way to put it is, they were an alternative approach to strategy of what we've been training for in Solver, which is great, right?
Yeah.
And it's a good thing. But it blew my mind a little bit. And for me to totally understand it, I have to go back and look at it again. Because it was so counter to Solver play. And I think he's onto something. I think he's a successful player. And I think Brad Wilson probably is onto this. We're all training in the solver because that's the tool that is available to us.
Yes.
We do not have a Hungry Horse trainer, unfortunately.
Right.
But I think, it behooves all of us to go back and take a look at kind of an alternative strategy. And understand why he's choosing this and how it works and what the mechanics are.
is there any interest in changing the parameters of the solver here, the trainer, to an early position open?
Yeah, we'll switch over. Let's switch over at the we'll finish the round and then switch over. How about that?
Okay.
Okay. That was Mike getting 2 points. If I remember correctly. I don't.
Yep.
Yep. And now we're at skate. And he did call his ace high.
I don't remember.
All right, moving on. Skate, you're up.
All right, I think I fixed my mic, so here we go.
You did.
Oh,
did.
much better skate.
Yeah, it was. I think after the update, it changed the mic by default, so whatever.
Skate is back, and he's got an open ender.
Yay! Let's. Well, I think the 6 is going to be a little bit. It's going to be better for the big blind's calling range, but we did pick up. I think we want to realize, so we're going to check back. Let's go ahead and check this.
Okay. Well played, sir. I would not have known to check this. Okay. That's quite a nice card.
Yes, I think it. Okay, they check. Yeah, I think it's good enough to bet.
So it's interesting when you have a straight on a paired board, right?
Yeah.
Uh, y- and so I don't know. I'll leave it up to you.
I think
And also
you-
villain's cap too, right? Because he just went check check.
right, like I would imagine they would bet a 6 right on the turn. So with that being said, I don't think we're targeting 6. We're going to target a single pair.
I think he might bet his trips on river, but not so much on. Sometimes he's going to do it. Sometimes solver's going to don't turn on a repeat 6.
Yeah,
I'm sorry, I'm stepping over your decision making process. I
no,
apologize.
no, it's fine. No, I don't know. Yeah, let's take a look after the hand. Yeah, like I think we kind of want to milk it. Maybe it's gonna mix. It's gonna mix. It's gonna mix between, I guess, 12 and 5.5, but mostly 5.5.
You're in there.
No, wrong. Mostly 12.
Yep.
Nice. I like
Okay.
it.
And how close was that to the, was that a point on the end? How close was that prominent?
Yeah, that was a
Yeah,
point.
it was a one of the many, or one of the few, 3 options.
Good enough, close enough. All right. Skate has 2 points.
Yay.
Artur, who has -2 points, but he also has 2 stars. So Artur is ahead in stars, but behind in points.
Interesting spot. You've got a combo draw, sir.
It's always hardest spot. When it's my turn, it's always hardest.
That's the way he planned it. You're paying the Lithuanian poker tax.
I don't know what this is.
I'm making a bad joke, but you
No, I mean this spot. This spot
Oh,
is,
okay.
I don't know what this is. This is
yeah, this is well, I think the heuristic here
75
is you've
check,
turned
right?
a lot of equity. You bet the flop. I think the
I
heuristic
think
is
it
that you
makes us
continue
anyway.
the ruse.
It's not full frequency play, right? I don't know. You can choose whatever. Let's bet 75.
It's up to you. What do you want to do? B75?
But yeah, but I think it's checking also.
Yeah. It's not betting as much as I thought.
That's a good point.
Hmm.
Yeah, I know, it's interesting. So the question becomes, can you value bet this? And I'll leave it up to you.
84.
So okay, 84. So this is a good group moment here because I would argue this is one of the tougher spots in cash this deep, right? You've got a hand, you got top pair in this situation on a super wet board. And making a decision between value betting and not value betting here is tough. It's tough for me at least. What qualities do we have here? So we've got top pair. He called a B75, right? So he's got either a very good draw or he's got a made hand. call it a pretty big bet. He doesn't have two hearts, two clubs here. And is your hand good enough to value bet here? I'm not sure, but I think probably, maybe. What do you
Here's
guys
what-
think?
Well, I think probably maybe is not it doesn't mean anything in terms of English, but in terms of poker, we have a
Well,
nine.
the good
we
Oasis
block-
song.
Yeah, so what are the big hands we get check raised by? Flushes and straights. We have a 9, we block the straight. We have a jack of spades, we block the flush. We can bet. We can bet for thin value here. And then we still fold. And the thin value bet is gonna be 13.5 and 19, so 59 and 84. And Arthur,
Okay, so you think this is a clear value bet?
I think so. I don't mean, it's not 100%. There's gonna be some checking, but I think I think we bet more than 50% of the time.
Maybe smaller. I thought like you said, maybe 60% pot is better.
Yeah,
Maybe I went too greedy.
yeah. We want to get called by, we want to get called by a 10 and an 8.
Yeah,
We
he's
do have
still
very
got
important
11.
blockers. I think that's part of the game here, is that we're blocking the flush and we're blocking the straight.
Like if we didn't have the jack of spades here and we get here the same way, we don't do it. And if we don't have the 9, we have jack.
All
some
right,
of the-
so,
Probably.
B80,
The 84,
yeah.
no,
My
No.
probably maybe was actually spot on correct there.
yeah,
We just don't, this
You were.
board is scary for,
No, Queen Jack
it's scary
is
for,
betting.
it's scary for the solver, because solver has the right amount of check raises.
No, Queen Jack is betting, Jack 10 is not. Threshold is Queen High kicker.
yeah, let's take a look.
Let's see where the threshold is.
And also we wonder if where is leading for a big blind on the river. But
So this is one of those spots that's just really weird. Well, it's just tough. What's our value betting threshold? Which, we're gonna ignore this. Well, queens are, the overpair is really not sure what it wants to do. The other interesting thing is, as we go up, you can kind of vaguely see our bet sizing increase. The sizing is somewhat linear.
Yeah.
What are the nuts here? Ace, the nut function.
So,
Go ahead.
oh, Sam, when you go back to the strategy thing, we have to look to see if the cutoff is queen jack.
The button.
Yeah, whether, because, so let's see. Queen jack off is not betting, even with a spade.
Jack
And
9
jack-
is not.
Jack nine is not, nope, so you don't
This
get,
is a really super complicated spot.
even
I
ace
think-
jack is not doing it.
Yeah, this spot's
Wow.
gonna be complicated. Let's just focus on one pair.
Yeah.
Let's just focus on our top pair. That's the.
Okay.
And we're not gonna be able to,
Eh,
okay, if
Our
we
top
go
pair
over
doesn't-
pair, fine, top pair. Top pair is just not good enough on this run out. And it's important to take consideration what's happening on button right here, right?
Yeah,
We've filtered this range with the B75. And so.
Yep. Yeah.
If you're solver, you tread lightly here.
aces don't even bet. Wow,
This is a teaching moment. That's the word, the term I was looking for.
yes.
Okay, so where is our threshold to bet? Again,
can you click on two pairs? Which two pairs are starting to bet?
sure.
Because some of them checking.
Here, let's look at this one in the hand graph.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay, here we go. That's what we're bet.
10-8.
Top two. The part
Top
I get away from this is that top two are good enough.
Yeah, top 2 and none of the others are, because 10-8, while it does it, it doesn't do it prominently. And you also have jack 4, you just have to have top, you have to have the jack in your 2 pair, that's what it is.
Yeah, this is just, I mean,
And not jack.
yeah, it's just an interesting spot because I think it's two factors again. Our big bet on turn, right?
Mhm.
Filtering range, and then we get there. What's our top pair do? Well, the board dynamic just does not allow us to value bet top pair. Are we changing now? Are we gonna, are we gonna continue?
Yeah, we have me and Adam and then we change. That's the order. Larry, because Larry started it. Okay. All right, so here is me.
Okay. Trips,
I
sir.
would continue to bet on this very, very easy board here. And I would like him to stay in with all of his pairs lower than a jack, between a 4 and a jack, and I would like him to stay in with his flush draw. I can certainly bet 75. This is good for my range. I can bet 125. Can his range support 175? No. So therefore, 125.
You're in there.
I'm in
So I
there.
think this is super common, right? When you've got 95% plus equity.
Yeah.
You get all different sizings because you're just trying,
Yeah.
different sizing profit from target different parts of his range for a call.
Yeah, I just think, I liked everything that Scotty said. I just thought the sizing didn't really match the thought process. Like the bigger you go, the harder, the more likely he is to get rid of pocket sixes. You
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
So
Well,
yeah,
let's look at that real quick from a global percentage, right? This isn't going to be granular. Let's just look at what his global folds percentage is. Especially here, because we're seeing where we've got such a good hand, the solver is choosing from a ton of different sizings in position. I would argue, again, that's targeting calls from different portions of his range. You can do it. You could do it, G2 Wizard. We know you can.
And Adam, the solver agrees with you.
All right, so
The solver likes what I said, but didn't love what I did.
what I'm curious about is, okay, we've got all, let's just go through these real quick. If we bet 3, how much of his range is he folding? 25%.
never folding the underpairs.
34%.
Still not.
75, they still stay in.
Still staying.
Folding, but now he's folding 43%, right? Was that him?
Uh,
So
fold
we're-
60%.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's, yeah. Yeah, so it kind of has this weird plateau. So, yeah, it's just like we have this much equity, we get to do lots of different stuff.
Yeah.
And we can see a very linear folding projection. All right. Oh, this is interesting. So you got a call,
I got a call.
but you kind of, it gave you the cheat sheet, Scott. You saw what he's calling through these
Yeah.
different sizes.
I'm betting. I'm not checking. Lower jacks. Call and all in. Spades bricked off and all fold. All the pairs are folding now. I don't want to bet the size of a smaller pair. He has more smaller jacks than bigger jacks. I might be jamming. Jeez.
I think you shove at some frequency because he's got a lot of jacks that are worse.
Yeah. And and Jack 5 is not well represented in there. It's the perfect card there for that.
The only Jack 5 is a Jack 5 of hearts.
Yeah. Push the big button. Biggest of buttons.
Do it.
Nope.
No.
We want to target.
All
I
right.
guess what's interesting to me is we had pretty much every bet size on turn,
Yeah.
but now we get to river and it's super specific on a sizing.
Yeah.
Riddle me that. I
Yep.
guess it's because we filtered his range with our sizing on.
Yeah.
Because we used the biggest sizing that it wanted.
Yep.
So that is such a filtered sizing that it must have something to do with, now we're super specific. But let's just see what happens. It's gonna have.
Fold it out, nothing. Well,
So,
plus-
so we are approaching 2 hours of
Yeah.
trainer time. Which means I'm approaching my burnout
Okay.
of talking. But why don't we do this? Why don't we leave and why don't we go till the top of the hour? And then that'll leave us an hour for marked hands.
Okay, we only have one more person who has to play in the game, and then we've done the rounds. It's once Adam goes, everyone has played.
Is that okay with everyone?
Yes.
Sounds good, man.
Yep.
Okay. All right, next hand.
Ooh. This is a card that I judge to make up a lot of big blind calling range. I think we can check here if we're gonna bet. I think we're gonna go on the smaller side to keep in like pocket pairs between sevens and nines or so. But I like playing here as a check. I like playing here as a check.
Yep.
Hmm. This seems to be one of the strongest hands that would be in my bet check line. I think I'm gonna go B60 here.
Well played, sir.
Nice.
Yeah, so what do you guys think, like in this spot in real life against population, since villains are not balanced as solver, and when they check the river here in the big blind, I mean, it kind of tells me that they do not have a six in a way.
Yep, they don't
Yeah.
have a six, and they rarely have a queen.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. If I got raised here, I was gonna
Yeah.
I was gonna be in the bet fold camp.
Yep.
Yeah, we're in the blender.
But this is, I mean, it just seemed too good. I mean, we haven't, and you know, we got to have some good hands in the bet check bet line, right? And
Yeah.
this is as good as it gets, I think.
I got someone with the bet check bet line last night.
Feels great, doesn't it? Feels great.
It's a fun play. He threw poop at me and left the table.
Yeah.
The most satisfying moment of my session last night.
But it just also works really nice here if we, you know, if he leads for the same sizing, we got a nice call here. The diamond's bricked off, you know, maybe he values I don't know, gets antsy with a pair of like sevens and just stabs for no reason. You know, there's things that can happen when we check this combo back. And if we bet turn, get raised, man, we're like, shit, wish I would have just checked.
Yeah.
It's our value bet, yeah.
Right.
What's our value threshold?
On river.
Here. So after we go check on turn, which is important here.
Oh yeah, any jack.
Let's not worry about our bluffs. Let's just look at our value threshold. And jack.
Second pair. Oh, it's jack, right? Jack's your second pair, right? Any
Yeah,
jack.
check's your second pair. Yeah, even though it's a paired board, we don't care. We value bet. And the interesting thing here is we just don't really have much variety in sizing, right? It's like a B60. I don't know
Yeah.
why. Maybe that's something to do with the paired board.
Well,
But yeah.
and I mean, I think it probably has to do with the range that we target in big blind. I mean, at this point, it can't be. It doesn't seem like it's a very strong range.
Yeah.
That's checked the whole way. I mean, check called small on the flop, so had something, but
And our overpairs can bet big because they don't worry about the freak two pairs.
That's a good point. Yeah. Yeah. So Scotty, do you want to take a break here? Did we go through everyone?
Went through everybody, and the final scores were a 3 or 4-way tie. Mike, Skate, and Adam with 2 points, and maybe me with 2 points, maybe not, because we don't know what I don't remember what I did my second one. But
I
that's
enjoyed the scoring. I think the scoring is a nice
scoring
addition
was,
to
the
this.
scoring was fabulous. And Arthur ended up with 1 star instead of 2 because I took away a star for the Queen Jack claim.
So,
Those are the scores.
do we want to take 5 minutes, come back and then do some octans?
Sure. And I'll do a little, and I'll
Yes.
break this into 2 recordings for fun. So let me
Okay.
go here. I'm going to stop recording now for a second, and then I'll restart it with marked hands.
All right.